For as long as humanity has existed, we've been driven by a single, stubborn instinct to push beyond limits, to reach places no one has ever reached before. For centuries, that desire pointed us upward, toward mountains, skies, and eventually space itself. When humans finally stood on the summit of Mount Everest, it felt like the ultimate victory over nature. The highest point on Earth had been conquered. But while the world was celebrating what lay above us, almost no one was paying attention to what lay below. Hidden beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean is a world far more extreme than any mountain peak. A place where sunlight has never reached, where the pressure is strong enough to crush steel, and where survival seems completely impossible. And yet, this place exists, and it is very real. This is the Mariana Trench, the deepest known location on planet Earth. Located in the western Pacific Ocean near the Mariana Islands, the trench is not just a deep hole in the seabed. It is a massive scar in the Earth's crust, stretching thousands of kilometers and plunging nearly 11 kilometers below sea level. The numbers alone are difficult to comprehend. If Mount Everest were somehow placed inside the trench, it wouldn't even break the surface. The mountain would disappear entirely, buried beneath kilometers of water. For a long time, scientists believed such depths were unreachable. According to everything we knew, the pressure at those levels would instantly destroy any object and any living thing. Darkness would be absolute. Temperatures would be near freezing. Life, as we understood it, simply could not exist there. That belief lasted until the late 19th century. In the 1870s, a British research ship set out on what would become one of the most important scientific expeditions in history. The mission was simple in theory but enormous in scale: to explore and measure the world's oceans. The ship traveled for years, crossing vast distances at a time when modern technology didn't exist. There were no satellites, no sonar systems, no digital instruments. Everything was done by hand. To measure ocean depth, the crew relied on thick ropes marked at intervals, with heavy metal weights attached to the end. The method was slow and exhausting. Every few hundred kilometers, the ship would stop, the weight would be dropped, and the crew would wait as gravity pulled it downward. When the weight finally touched the ocean floor, the rope would go slack. By reading the markings, they could estimate the depth. For months, the process was repetitive, routine, predictable, until one day it wasn't. In the Western Pacific, the crew dropped the weight as usual, but the rope didn't stop. It continued descending far longer than expected. Hundreds of meters passed, then thousands. The crew watched in disbelief as the rope was pulled deeper and deeper into the ocean. It wasn't until the rope had descended nearly 8 kilometers that it finally stopped. No one on board could believe it. At the time, scientists didn't think the ocean could reach such depths. This single measurement shook the scientific world and raised more questions than answers. What kind of place could exist that far below the surface? Was it a single anomaly, or something much larger? And most importantly, was it completely lifeless? There was no way to know. The technology simply didn't exist. All scientists could do was record the data and move on, leaving the mystery untouched for decades. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that humanity returned to the question. By the 1950s, technology had advanced dramatically. Sonar systems now allowed researchers to map the ocean floor remotely, sending sound waves downward and reading their echoes. When researchers scanned the same region where the original measurement had been taken, the results were astonishing. The deep spot discovered decades earlier wasn't a random pit. It was part of a massive trench stretching over 2,000 kilometers. Even more shocking, the deepest measurement taken before wasn't even the deepest point. Further scans revealed a deeper depression within the trench itself, a place that would become known as Challenger Deep. At nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, Challenger Deep was officially declared the deepest point on Earth. Yet one question remained unanswered. Could anything possibly live there? For years, scientists had believed that extreme pressure and total darkness made life impossible beyond a certain depth. But in the late 1950s, that assumption was challenged. A Soviet research vessel exploring the deep ocean discovered living organisms at depths exceeding 7 kilometers. Not just bacteria, but fish, invertebrates, and unfamiliar creatures unlike anything seen before. The discovery stunned the scientific community. These organisms weren't barely surviving. They were adapted. built for the pressure, designed for darkness. They had no eyes, or eyes that served no purpose. Their bodies were soft and flexible, allowing them to withstand immense force. Life, it seemed, had found a way. This revelation changed everything. If life could exist at 7 kilometers, then maybe it could exist even deeper. Perhaps the Mariana Trench wasn't a dead zone at all, but an entirely different ecosystem, hidden from the surface world. The only way to know for sure was to go there. Descending to the deepest point on Earth is nothing like climbing a mountain. On Everest, the challenge is thin air and freezing temperatures. In the trench, the danger is pressure so intense that it can crush a human instantly. At the bottom, the pressure is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. To survive that environment, engineers designed a specialized submersible built like a steel sphere, capable of withstanding unimaginable force. In 1960, 2 men entered this vessel and began one of the most dangerous descents ever attempted. For 5 hours, the submersible sank through total darkness. There was no sunlight, no reference point, just endless black water. Finally, after reaching nearly 11 kilometers below the surface, the vessel touched the ocean floor. The mission lasted only 20 minutes, but those 20 minutes changed science forever. The explorers saw living creatures moving across the seabed. Fish, strange organisms, proof that life not only existed at the deepest point on Earth, but thrived there. When the vessel returned to the surface, it confirmed what many once believed was impossible. Life can exist almost anywhere. But the descent also left behind a disturbing mystery. Years later, private notes from one of the explorers were released. In them, he described seeing something unusual during the journey. Something massive, moving deliberately outside the submersible. It wasn't drifting. It wasn't random. It appeared to be watching them. Then it disappeared, and no official explanation was ever given. Decades later, another strange event occurred. In the 1980s, an American research vessel lowered a probe into the trench, connected by steel cables. As the probe reached extreme depth, it began recording unusual sounds. Almost immediately, the cables were pulled violently, as if something powerful was attacking from below. After hours of struggle, the probe was recovered. It showed clear signs of damage. Deep marks, twisted metal, severed cables. Official reports blamed underwater terrain, but many of the scientists involved believed otherwise. The damage didn't look accidental. This incident gave rise to one of the most controversial theories in marine biology, that an ancient predator, believed extinct for millions of years, might still exist in the depths. A creature large enough and strong enough to damage steel. A hunter perfectly suited to the darkness. Whether that idea is pure speculation or something more remains unknown. What is known is that continued exploration of the Mariana Trench has revealed an astonishing level of biodiversity. Robotic missions in the late 1990s uncovered hundreds of new species, many unlike anything seen before. Creatures with transparent bodies. Organisms that feed on chemicals rather than sunlight. Life forms that challenge our understanding of biology itself. In 2012, the trench was visited again, this time by filmmaker and explorer James Cameron, who made a solo descent to Challenger Deep. His journey, documented on film, once again reminded the world how little we truly understand about our own planet. Despite all we've learned, the Mariana Trench remains largely unexplored. Only a tiny fraction has been studied. What else might be living there? What other secrets lie hidden in the darkness? One thing is certain, Earth still holds worlds we've barely begun to explore. And deep beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Trench stands as a reminder that the greatest mysteries aren't always above us. Sometimes, they're waiting below.